Hello and welcome to our first installment of TORC Talks. TORC, aka the Obstacle Course Racing Collab, is a team of elite obstacle course racers who have banded together to help push the results of the sport forward. A TORC Talk is when you get to have insights from the athletes of them talking about their personal experience in terms of training, racing, nutrition, and mindset. And so today we have founding member Nick Ryker, and Nick is one of the best athletes, if not the best athlete in the Midwest region. He's found tremendous results, including 22 podiums the past 2 years. And so we do a deep dive into Nick's background as an athlete and some of the intangibles that he has that has led him to some of these great results as an OCR athlete. So I really enjoyed chatting with Nick. I think you'll like it too. It was a lot of great takeaways, and here we go. This is our TORC Talk. Nick Ryker. Nick, tell us a little bit about who you are. First, where do you live? You just made a move, right?
Yeah, I live in Nashville, Tennessee, home of the Honky Tonks. I moved here in August or late July. I was born and raised in Southern Illinois my whole life, 40 years, and then moved about 2.5 hours south to Nashville.
Is that all it is? So
yeah.
It's still pretty close.
Yeah. It's like a day trip.
That's awesome. And your brother's down there with you, right? Or was he there first?
Yeah, he was there. He's been here since 2017, since I started my senior year of college. So he's been here for a good minute. I moved in with him. Yeah.
What has been better for training? And we haven't had too many races, so we're not really quite sure how things are gonna what's gonna be better in terms of the race results. But what's better for training, you think? Where you're your hometown or
back
Vegas,
home?
Vegas.
Back home in Southern Illinois, we didn't have a lot of competition for me, or we didn't have I would have to drive pretty far to get some quality trail and hill work. But and I was working a job I absolutely hated. So maybe training back home was oh my God, this is my time away from work. So I really appreciated it more. The only the hardest thing about here is I just don't know where I had routes back home, and I had okay, if I can do this route in this time, I know I am fit. Mm-hmm. I know if I can do this trail, this hill in this amount of time, or I know I'm fit. Back down in Nashville, I'm trying to find, because now it's all hilly here. All the roads are hilly. The trails are a lot more technical than back home. So it's now I got to find new benchmarks. Am I fit right now? That's been difficult, but I have more time to train. So that's more self-discipline. So now since I have more time to train, I have to train more. So it's both and I'm working a job that I absolutely love now. So it's definitely got pros and cons, but I think in the long term, this is going to be a lot more better for me, especially there's a lot more people. I've been running with more people here. I ran with a guy who went to the Olympic trials in the marathon. I ran with a track guy who's a 401 miler. It's a lot better down here for definitely competition.
Just more dense people, you're going to have better runners, and any urban area that's going to attract just people to come live and work, you're going to get some good athletes there.
Yeah.
So just by a numbers game, it's going to be a better turnout for that. Your chin might be hitting this mic. It's it's crinkling a little bit on my end. So just don't touch it. Just make sure it's away from your shirt or something. So yeah, I kind of went through the same thing with this past year. I've created more time for myself, essentially switching jobs, just being able to work on my own terms, and which freed up a ton of time to train. Right. You kind of mentioned that too. And was that part of when you moved down, where I'm going to go down here and get a job so I can train more, or is it just kind of a byproduct of the circumstances? And what do you do? What is your job now?
So I work at D1 Sports Training. They have we have 50 locations across the country. It's high level. It's a high level gym. So our gym has a 60-yard indoor football field, weight training, NFL free agents, if they live in Nashville, they come and train and then try to get on a team. Off season, professional players get on a team here. But then it's also just group training for adults. So, I'm a part-time group fitness trainer there, and then I work in sales as well at the gym. So it's just a big group fitness class. I think the difference between the big difference between us and like an F45, like an Orange Theory, like first of all, there's like no running in those two. You're always like just going up and down. So like we get out on the turf and we'll do sprints. We'll do like mile, like run around, like do some mile runs. And then we do like heavy weight training. So like, I think it's really like, they call the other high intensity gyms like functional fitness for life. Like we're making athletes for life almost, like how our training is. So I think it's awesome. That gym is awesome. Get to work out there, like everything I need for anything. But I did move down here to find a better quality of life. And hopefully to find a job where it gave me more room, like more flexibility to train. Like I want to like go all in on obstacle course racing and training. So that was the main part. I'm actually working more hours than I did back home, but I'm more flexible with my hours at my gym, and I'm able to like have longer mornings basically to do my workouts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that trainer lifestyle, it's flexible to a certain extent, but then like the hours are just hours that nobody wants to work. They're just like those super early ones, those late night ones, but the middle of the day, you can do some work. Is that kind of how it fits in for you? Like, are you working early?
So I split it up, like 3 shifts are like in the morning. So like 5 to noon. And then I have the rest of the day off. And then the other days I work from noon till 7. So those days, like I at least get to like sleep in a little and then like do my workouts.
Oh, nice. And that's ideal. If you can get workout at like, 8 or 9 in the morning, like that's when I'm like awake. I feel good. I'm ready to go. So like you have that type of.
Yeah. And I'm like back home when I was working my desk job, like 8 to 4:30, like I was waking up 4:40 a.m. out the door by like 5:20. And like, it was awesome to get my, like first thing of the day, get my run in before I do a whole shift. But like at the same time, I just ran myself into the ground, how tired I was. I felt like.
That's the thing, man. Like getting something done in the morning, it gives it a good spin for the day. You're like, all right, sweet. I already accomplished something that is great. And I have this edge on the day, but it does catch up. And that's when I was doing like the trainer lifestyle, I had a 5:30 every morning, like Monday through Friday. And like, I would have a 7 PM 2 or 3 nights a week. So I would get done at like 8, and you're not ready for bed until you can't really get to bed until like 10.
Mm-hmm.
So my training was still good, but I was always exhausted.
Yeah.
And like when you're in that, you don't like, you might not quite know that you're just like dying all the time. So do you feel more refreshed now? Do you feel better?
I do. And like, I definitely do. Like before I was able to just like, I could still if I wanted to, but like, I would roll off of like 6 hours of sleep. And now it's like, I'm getting like 9.5 hours of sleep, 9 hours of sleep, which is amazing. And like my workouts, like I'm feeling better. My legs are recovering better. Those days I do have to wake up at 5. Like I do like get less sleep, but that's only 2 days a week. Like 3 days a week. Like it's not the biggest deal in the world.
Are you tracking your sleep, or is it just kind of like,
I really never track. I know I go to bed around this time and I'll probably fall asleep within 20 minutes and then I wake up. Back home, like I was getting consistent at least like 7 to 8, but like I was having to go to bed like at 8:30, which sucked.
It's crazy.
Like I had no social life. Like
in the summertime, it's like light out at 8:30.
Yeah. Get off work at 4:30, have 4 hours to do some stuff and then go right back to bed.
I know that's when it's hard to prioritize sleep. And that's like the thing, it's like a tough balance, right? It's like, okay, what is going to be better for me as an athlete or me in terms of my life? So it sounds like, the whole situation is much better.
Yeah, it's a much better quality of life. But like, my brother's my best friend and we just get to hang out. Sometimes we don't like, we'll always be here like every night, but we might go like a whole week without seeing each other sometimes though. Cause he works night as an ER nurse. So like sometimes like I'm leaving when he's coming in, or like he's leaving when I'm coming home from the day. So sometimes we just cross paths, but it's good just to hang out with him when we have our days off. So like he's been good for me. He's a good big brother.
I would like love to live with my little brother. I mean, now there's a past. I mean, he's married now. I'm engaged, so like that's probably never going to happen. But are you worried? Are you like,
So Brandon, he's been hanging out with this one girl, and he goes, "Man, I think I might like her." And I'm like, "Ugh, let's hold off. Let's hold off for at least a couple more years.
You don't have to make up
before you say you like a girl real fast."
I just moved down here, man. We're here to hang out, okay?
Yeah.
I don't need any of this.
But like he recently, I'm just spilling his whole life story, but like he lived with a girlfriend for a couple of years, and he goes, I probably won't do that ever again until I get engaged with somebody. So like that was just like, it was tough. He learned a lesson. We've all learned lessons. So I'm hoping to at least get a year and a half out of him.
And you're just giving him a reminder, just reminding him of his past. Yeah. Like, hey, I'm not saying either way, but you said before. I'm just simply reminding you.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
All. So Nick, how old are you?
24.
24.
Almost 25.
Have you been doing, when was your first obstacle course race?
When I was 2016, a sophomore in college.
No way.
So it's been a minute. I only did one in 2016, so I was 20 years old.
Yeah. And what was it, just like around your school? Did you see it? And were people like, hey, come do this?
It was in Atlanta. No, I was in school in Illinois, and it was in Atlanta. And my friend said, you should do this, because he did one at the Fort Campbell earlier, like the year prior. And I was like, okay. So I signed up for it, and I didn't train whatsoever. And then I did it, and I walked across that finish line.
Literally walked for
Yeah. I got Robert Killian was there the year after we won the world championship. In a sprint, I lost him by like 40 minutes in a 5-mile race, and I got like 90th place.
Nice. So your story's not atypical. Why did your buddy come to you and be like, hey, you should do this?
So I did a run in college. I ran at junior college, only for 1 year. I plan on going 2 years, but the college cut the cross country and track team after my freshman year. So it wasn't really my choice. And I thought about transferring to another JUCO or to the university or like down the road from us, but I still had a full ride at my junior college.
Oh, they honor your scholarship?
Yeah, they honor my scholarship. And then I was just like, oh man, like I was not in a good place with running at that time. So I just I'm not going to run anymore, and I'm just going to lift weights and get huge, which, I put on a lot of muscle.
And you're yoked. It worked.
Yeah. I put on a lot of muscle in just 3 or 4 months, just consistently lifting. And he goes, you need some strength, and you were a good runner once, so maybe you'd be good at this. I was like, okay, I'll do it. So I did it.
What happened with running? Why, you did well at JUCO. I mean, you qualified nationally, right?
Yeah, I did. I just had I liked my teammates that we had, but just the way it ended, I don't know. Just that kind of college running, it's the same story of every program. They just try to run you into the ground. There's no easy days. There's nothing like that. And once they announced our college was done, they announced that at spring break my freshman year, but they let us finish out the season. Everybody just quit. The coaches even stopped showing up. It was just me, 2 other distance guys, and a sprinter. That's all we had. And I was just like, man, I don't know. I just feel like any passion was there for if my coach quits on me, I don't know. I didn't have that. At that time, I didn't have the motivation to just basically do it by myself. So I was in it. And we can talk about this later, but with my rib injury, it was doing that kind of volume and being so skinny. It just got so bad that freshman year, my senior year of high school, my freshman year of college, it was so bad. I was like, I don't want to put myself through this pain. So I was just in a bad place with running. I was kind of just tired of it. I took a whole summer off. I worked at church camp, and I took a whole summer off. I was like, man, I feel amazing. No pain. And then I was like, man, first time in my life, I'm going to actually lift weights and gain some muscle. And that was it. I just got away from it for about a year and a half.
Were you, when they cut the program and you saw that things were going sideways and just all the things you said, you feeling run down, that the program really wasn't catered to you in any way, you had the rib thing, which we definitely will touch on. So you were physical pain a lot of the times. were you like relieved when they cut the program, or were you like bummed?
I was a little bummed because we did have an awesome team. Like my cross country, like that cross country season, that was a lot of fun. Like our distance squad, we like meshed well with each other. Not a lot of us took it like seriously. Like not a lot of us wanted to go on to the next level. Like one guy did, and I was thinking about doing it. And like we were like gonna
Meaning
have like
a 4-year?
yeah, like a 4-year, yeah. And like we were like our coach was talking us up like our main goal for the track season was going to be the 4x8 and try to go All-American as a relay team. So I was pretty bummed about that because we were going to have 4 guys that like go sub-2, and in junior college that's pretty good. We would have been an All-American squad. We probably would have got a top 5 as a junior college. So I was looking really forward to that. And I thought maybe we still like at least 4 of us was going to stick around, but then like I was like bummed because we were all going to come back the next year as well. And then it just quit on us. The school did. And which really sucks because the only teams that won national championships was our men's cross country team. Like we had 5 national championships in like 15 years of the program's history.
Huh. So like, I mean, I know it just like goes down to show like performance has nothing to do with the way that
and like we did have the school's hands were tied. Illinois went through a massive. The governor at that time like cut so much of school budgets, like so much on private school budgeting, that like every junior college or small college had to cut something. Like everybody did. Like we had an interim head coach. So it was really easy, I feel like. And we were in a conference. Every other team was in a conference. So it was obvious like we were going to be the ones that got let go, basically.
Shoot. So like the writing was on the wall. Nick, and your big man chin and jaw. You just have like this huge manly jaw that just keeps like scraping up against it. I can't be mad. I'm just like jealous. My jaw's like not even close to the microphone.
I'll hold it up.
You got it. I got to get out there for like a freaking who's a celebrity with a big. I'd imagine Brad Pitt has a big jaw. I'm not sure, but someone with like. So what was that? Did it like when you are kind of told it's over? And like when you're 20, like, you know, it might be like your last hurrah, right? And like you've obviously extended yourself as an athlete, but in that time where you're like, oh, okay, am I like not an athlete now? Like, how's this work? Like, or what's
that was? I mean, I finished out that track season. Me and my 2 friends, we did, and we all qualified for nationals. And I remember like I was talking, like our head coach at least like reached out to other top junior colleges in the country and other schools, and they were like, yeah, you can transfer here. We don't know if we can give you a 4i, but you have a spot on our team. Like a bunch of schools like reach out to us, and they were really saddened because we did have like a historic like history. Like we did have like a really good team. So like so like my last track race, I didn't know if like I was like 90% sure it was gonna be my last one. It was the 1500, and I just remember saying like, this might be my last race ever. And like that was pretty emotional. Like all I knew up to that point was being an athlete. And, you know, like that race was over, did okay, didn't move on to the finals. And then like went back to the next school year. I remember the first day of class, went back to the next school year. And then after my last class of the day, I drove home and I was like, well, I guess that's it. Like there's no practice, there's nothing. But that being really big, like that took a while to get used to. But then at the same time, it was cool because like I got a job, like I was able to make some money for myself, like save money, I like met some awesome more people in class, like had more of a social life. But I remember like it hit my parents pretty hard too, because all they knew, like my siblings and I'm the youngest of 4. All they knew like up to that point was like going to our athletic events, and then it just stopped.
And there's like, and you're right, like there's definitely opportunity with that, and also the opportunity to like learn more about yourself, right? Like when it's just like that you're an athlete or a runner, like that is the identity piece that's there. But when that's taken away, I could imagine it would just be like, ugh. And I remember I still kind of have thoughts like this where it's like, so people just don't do sports. They're just like, how do they identify themselves? You know, it's like, if I want a runner, like, then what the heck? But you played a bunch of other sports. Did you start getting into intramurals at that sport at that point too?
Yeah, like my junior college didn't have intramurals, but like I got probably at that time, my sophomore year into my junior year of college, I got into, I would say, the best overall shape at that point in my life, like ever. Like I gained almost 30. By my senior year of college, I gained 40 pounds of muscle.
Oh my God.
Yeah, my first semester of college, I weighed 145, and then beginning of my last semester of college, I weighed 185. And like it wasn't a lot of body fat. Like humble brag, it wasn't a lot of body fat. So like when you got into intramurals, like I was basketball, football, and softball. Basketball team my senior year, we actually won the championship at the school, so that was pretty cool. So yeah, I got into a lot of other stuff. Just I don't know, like yeah, I was doing a lot of hybrid workouts. Like I would run twice a week still, like only like at 10 minutes at a time. And then the other stuff, I would be doing a lot of like AMRAPs. I would never went to a CrossFit gym. It was just always on my own. A bunch of AMRAPs, a bunch of just like jumping ability. I got really athletic. Like I was able to like just throw down a basketball. I never was able to. I was just like alley oops, just like
two hands
slamming it. Yeah.
Off 2 feet too? Jump off 2 feet?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
and you're what? You're 6 foot, 6'1"?
6 foot. Like I was able to just like I put in like this big jumping program. I remember. I wasn't following anybody. I just like came up with it by myself, and like at the end of it, I was just like slamming a basketball like whenever I wanted to, basically. So that was really cool. That was really cool. Awesome. Yeah.
If you were to like, you know, when the draft happens, people get their like comparison of an NBA present or past NBA player. What's your NBA player comp?
Is nobody famous or anything that good, but like Marcus Smart.
Oh yeah, you locked down
Boston
defense.
Celtics, yeah. Like in intramurals, I always took the other team's best basketball player, and I always scored like a decent amount. We had some like real ballers on our team, but I was on our intramural team. We were all like 6 foot or 6'1" and under. I was definitely probably the tallest and like the strongest. So I would play center, and I grew up playing point guard my whole life. So I played center, but I was able to handle the ball going up, like rebound the ball,
so like...
and then I was dunking. I never got to dunk in an intramural game. I wasn't able to like slam it on people. I would have to have like a break. I would have to have like a breakaway.
And playing center, you're not stealing the ball out front. You're down low getting rebounds.
I remember like our championship game my junior year. There was actually a kid it was the D1 school I went to. A kid on the team that like transferred there, but he was academically ineligible, so he played intramural basketball, and we played his team in the championship game, and I guarded him. I didn't shut him down, but like I got in his way. He still scored like 25 points on me. I remember thinking, oh man, I always thought like when I started getting really athletic, like, oh man, I'm like a Division II basketball player, Division III basketball player. And I played against this guy. He was D1, and like I've never seen anything like it still. I've never guarded anything like somebody like that.
The levels that people can get in a sport like that are just like a different world. Like you just don't come across those athletes so much. My like best friend growing up in high school, he was like 1,000-point scorer at our high school. And like he just played like D3 at like the local school. He's like the best basketball player I ever played with. And like, he was just like an okay player in this grand scheme of things. So like those good players are like insane. Like unstoppably good.
Yeah, and we were a mid-major Division I school, and like, if you're like one of the better players,
What school did you go to?
Southern Illinois University, home
the
of
Salukis.
Yeah. If you're like one of the best players, even if you're academically ineligible, like in quotes, like they'll find a way to put you on the court.
Yeah.
So like, even he was academically ineligible, and they couldn't like, they're like, okay, he wasn't good enough for like them to just like brush that off still, and he still is like, oh my gosh.
Is that Horizon?
Yeah.
Is that what you guys are?
No, Missouri Valley.
Gotcha. Yeah, I went to St. Joe's here. We're at Atlantic 10. So, like, the competition's, like, similar. A10's probably
better basketball, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But same deal, right? Like, the kids that went to that school, they went to play, and, like, they didn't have to do anything else but play. I used to like Southern Illinois when they'd make the tournament, just because the abbreviated version on the bracket would be so ill. And I thought that was cool. I'd be like, I'm picking so ill because obviously
Yeah,
they're
we haven't
ill like
made
that.
we haven't made the tournament in a long time. But yeah, those were
They used to.
I was like
Yeah.
in middle school, and those are like we went to the games all the time, and they were fun. Oh, they were fun.
Yeah, they had some teams they went. What's the furthest they went?
Sweet 16 back-to-back years.
No way.
And 07 and 08, I think.
Yeah, so that's legit hoops there.
Mm-hmm.
So like after you got murdered in Atlanta, did you fly down to Atlanta just to get murdered like
No,
that?
I drove.
Okay.
With my dad.
Yeah. You were like, did you go there thinking you were going to win?
I did. I was like, because I was looking at results of races, and I'm like, oh, they're doing like a 4-mile race in like 45 minutes.
These are like 12-minute miles.
Yeah, I was like, Jesus, like I'll run to the obstacle and I'll recover at an obstacle, and then I'll just run to the next one. So I was thinking I was going to do pretty well. And I didn't, again, like I didn't really train like running wise. I put on a lot of muscle and like strength. I still failed 3 obstacles, and so I did 90 burpees. I don't know why I thought I was good. I failed the Z wall. I remember at the time I was like, the Z wall's impossible. Nobody on earth.
The Z wall a couple times. Yeah.
I was like, nobody on earth can pass this Z wall, monkey bars, and the multi rig at the end.
Yeah, that's fair. Because that was before even like Twister, right? Like yeah. Like multi rig was like the hardest one. So. Yeah, and it's funny when you go into it's like I have a running background, and all these people obviously aren't really runners, so I'll just kill them and not even need to be in shape to do that. To do so, when you were done, was it fun or were you like pissed?
That was the hardest. I wasn't pissed. I was like, oh my gosh, this is actually a real thing. Like this is a legit like people train. Like people at that point, I remember thinking like this is like a people train like this as a professional athlete, like how they do. So I wasn't pissed. I was like, oh my gosh, I was just shocked more than anything. And like my dad was like, he was still like impressed that I did it, and I was like, I got like 90th place. Like there was like chubby men that beat me. Yeah,
that's just being a good dad.
Yeah. But he was like, man, but I just don't. He was like, I'm impressed that you did that, Nick, but I just don't think this is for you. We were walking back in the car thinking, man, I just like you've never been like a kid who goes out like gets muddy, and I never was. Like I never really played in the mud growing up. I was always I don't know, always just stick to the roads and stuff like that. So, but I always had a lot of grit in me. Always had a lot of grit, like basketball, baseball, like just fought to the end of everything. But I was like, no, I can't leave. I can't not do this again. Like, I can't leave this sport or whatever. This be my last race and be 90th place. Like, I gotta try it again. I remember telling him that. I was like, I can't do this, like, one and done and be, like, horrible at it. Like, come on.
And, like, I get what your dad's saying, right? Like, because he's probably the same idea as you. It's like, people probably don't train for this, and they are probably just built for it. And I kind of think about that a little bit now, even. But like, your dad's like, well, these people, they probably are all born in the woods, running, like enjoy like doing the mud thing, and without really even knowing, like, oh, people are training for this, right? Like, this is something people are actually preparing for, which is something that you don't know until you go there and you see the actual athletes who are out there. So like. So you did another one. How much time did you take? You knew right away you were going to do another one?
I did it a whole year later. Like that summer, I went, it was my sophomore year of college. Yeah, into my sophomore year of college. I went to go work that camp again out in North Carolina. Came back for my junior year, and I actually trained this time. Like I was running probably like 15, 20 miles a week compared to like the 5 I was doing before. But they were all like quick miles. And, put on, like, I did some grip work strength at my buddy's house. Like, he had some, like, the rig set up, so we would do that. And, I came back, like, pretty much a whole year later, and, like, I was in top 5 with a mile to go, and I missed my spear, and I ended up getting 14th place. And I remember, like, I was like, holy shit, I got 14th place. I am a big dog. I remember thinking that. Like, I'm a big dog at this regional race. Like, I didn't know what, like,
it was Atlanta again?
Races. Yeah, I did Atlanta again because it lined up with my spring break both years.
Oh, okay.
In college, so that's why I did that. I remember thinking, like, I'm like, holy crap, like, And right then and there, I was like, I got to do another one.
I'm on the pro team already. They're already
Yeah,
looking
I
at
was
me.
thinking like they should look at me. I'm 21. Yeah, I was 21 at the time.
I'm the future
this.
of this.
Yeah. And then I didn't do another one till that September. I left to go work that camp, my final summer working that, and I came back. I trained every day. I remember marking down. I had 63 days when I returned from camp to do that race, and I trained every single one of those days. Put in probably still only like 20 miles a week, but they were all fast, doing a lot of AMRAPs and like studying like all the obstacles. I was at Fort Campbell, and then I did it, and I got third place. And then I was like, I remember like going across, like I smacked the bell, the multi-ring. I just smacked that thing. I remember like probably the happiest third place person ever. And I smacked it. I went across the line, and I was just like, oh my gosh. Like my friends were there who came down to do the race. They watched me, and they thought like I was the biggest badass ever. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I just got third place at this rate. Like, holy crap. Cause I remember so I get like my friends back home, like a lot of them tell me like, we just kid around. Like, Nick, you literally, like people literally train all the time for that. Like you cannot do that. And then when I did it, I was like, oh my God, I just shut like a lot of haters up almost, like just my friends or whatever.
Embrace the haters.
Yeah. So that was awesome.
Yeah. What do you attribute that to? Like, actually, what were like your PRs at the time? What are like your high school and college PRs in terms of like running?
Oh man, nothing great. Like Jesus, like I if people go back February this year on our podcast, on your podcast I recorded with, like it's nothing great. Like average runner in high school. Like I qualified my sophomore and junior year, we qualified as a team for state. First time in school history, a team from our school went to state. And I was number one on both of those teams. My junior year, I would have qualified regardless if my team didn't go.
It's cross country, you're saying?
Yeah, cross country. I ran in high school my 5K PR on a hilly course. The only time we ran 3 miles in Illinois. So we only did 5K courses like once or twice. Mm-hmm. The race before state was a 5K. It was like on a hilly, muddy course. I ran like a 17:22, like nothing amazing.
Yeah.
And then at state, the 3 mile course, I ran a 16:20 or 16:30, something like that. And that got me 100th place out of 200 people. So like I said, average. Middle of the pack.
Yeah. Mid-pack of the elite.
Of the state people.
Of the elite state runners. Right. So like still a good run. Like you were probably the runner guy in high school, but you're like, oh, Nick's like the fastest dude in school.
Yeah. And so, especially in Southern Illinois, like it's rural. Like rural. Like I had a school of 700 people, and that was the second biggest school in the entire region.
Okay.
So tiny.
So you probably were a big dog even then, like even just by being number one guy on your team on the biggest school.
Like, yeah, and at the small race, like I only won one high school race, but I was always top 3 basically, especially my junior year. Second of conference. I was all conference 3 years. I was all Southern Illinois for 3 years. Senior year, I got pretty banged up with my rib. That kind of hurt me pretty bad. So those were my PRs in cross. I did baseball the same season as track. My 2 years I did track, so I split times. So I ran a 4:40 in my mile my junior year, which was my PR. And then I ran a high 2 flat, like 2 flat 0.85 my senior year at the sectional meet. While
playing baseball.
While only like baseball was my priority. I was actually because we always like a bunch of girls always did 4 sports. No guy ever did, because like some girls could do softball and track, or they can do like dance team and basketball,
kind of like
whatever.
Yeah.
But they always had a big like controversy, like what's your priority, like coaches clashing or whatever. But so I actually my first contract I ever signed actually was my senior year, because we ran into my junior year as well, like which was my priority sport, which meets I had to go to, like what games I couldn't miss for baseball, and I had to sign that contract and get both my coaches to sign it too. So that was the first time in our school history somebody had to do that.
And the track coach is just happy to get people out there. They'll sign that
especially
contract. It's like, this guy might run 2 flat. Yeah, I'll sign this shit.
Yeah, like 2 flat, and like I did like maybe 3 runs a week. I had some good speed out of nowhere. Really, actually, my training for track in baseball, at every practice, we did a 10-minute warm up, and I would just hammer that every day.
That's your training.
In my baseball cleats, like around the field, I would hammer that every day. And then
quality.
Yeah, and then some days like I would get out of school early. My dad was the principal, which helped. And then I had this like medical careers where I can go do like clinicals, like try out what I want to do for the rest of my life. And I would get out of that early and I would go to the track and then I would just like hammer 200s, not knowing like, didn't have a watch on me or anything. I would just hammer the 200, walk to the next 200 and then just hammer that like 5 times. And I would do that without like any training. Like we didn't have a distance coach. Our track coach was like, he just really knew sprints or whatever. He would just tell me like, yeah, go out there, like do some 200s, do some 400s. I didn't have a watch. I didn't know like what time I should rest or anything. And I would just do that. The most that helped me the most at high school, we had a guy in my conference. He was like David Rhodesia to me, basically. Like he was like a 154 guy, which is pretty good.
Yeah, in high school, like really good.
Yeah, really good. I think he got second in state. But at like every meet we ran together, I would just go out as fast as I can with him and then try to just hold it. So like I remember my conference meet my senior year when I ran like a 201, I went out like in a 53. But I came back like because the guy he went out that fast. Like I'm just gonna try to do it. And our school record was a 2.00. So I try to break that all year. And I never did. That was my PRs basically a 440 in the mile, which was after a baseball game. I played center field the whole game, caught a couple balls, out in the outfield, got a hit, stole a base, and then the game was over. And then I just drove my car across the street to the track meet and made it to the mile on time and ran the 440. That was it.
And it sounds like your training was just really, you just kind of like trained like a meathead. You're just like, I'm just going to go real hard when I can go hard.
Yeah. And I didn't like, and I didn't have like that. I guess that was where I really started doing my own training. Like I would take control. Like I had to have self-discipline, but it wasn't like you see some of these high school kids, like they're waking up at 5 and they're putting like 40 miles a week. Like I would never imagine waking up early before school and doing work but I had self-discipline, like to go out to the track by myself and at least do something at that time.
Yeah, absolutely. And then when you look so you mentioned self-discipline a couple times here, and that is that something that has been a common thread in terms of your training, or is that something you think about a lot? Is like, I will get better at XYZ because like I know I'm disciplined enough to do the work, or is that something like you're constantly kind of working on?
Probably a little bit of both. Going back to like college, we didn't like our coach just like quit on us basically. So like we were like he would send us workouts and it was just to us and my 2 other guys on the team. Are we gonna do this or not this day? And I lived 30 minutes away from the school too, so like I was commuting. So I was like, am I gonna have to drive here on the days I don't have class and still do this workout? And I would do that. So definitely, and like all my training with Spartan Racing, it's all by myself. So it's definitely a lot of self-discipline to like get out the door and do my long runs and do the track workouts. But there's also like a lot of times like I don't have that self-discipline to do all the little things that like probably like a Ryan Atkins does or like a Ryan Kent does. I don't know what those other little things are, but there's obviously something like they're doing that I'm probably not doing because they've been a professional for a long time.
And yeah, like you said, you're on your own, right? Like you've been training solo for a long time, so you can't know what you don't know. But in terms of like having that self-discipline, even as a high school kid, like going and doing your own training on the track when you don't have to, where you talk about social pressure as a high school kid, right? You could do anything else that you wanted. You could have done the stuff in college. You could look at your buddy and be like, let's just go home. I got a 30-minute commute. I can get out of here. Like, why do you think you were like that? Like, why do you think that you're okay with putting in the work solo?
I don't really know. My parents, like, I really give like a lot of my credit to my parents of just, I saw my mom growing up, like to get her master's degree, like would drive 3 times a week, like when I was in elementary school, like drive 3 nights a week down to Murray State, which is like 2.5 hours away after her work, like she was an accountant. After work, drive down there, do her class, drive back, that same night, get home at like midnight, and just keep doing it. And like she didn't have to do that. I mean, she was making a good career as a CPA, but she wanted to become a teacher to like spend more time with us, the kids. So like I always think back to like I don't probably tell her that enough, but like I always think back to my mom just did it. Like she literally just did it. Like my dad, like get his doctorate, like him staying up late at night. He didn't have to get his doctorate in education, but he did try to like to make a better career for his kids, like a better life. And he would like write his dissertation, which was like over 200 pages, and like he didn't have to do it, but he just did it. So I get a lot from those two. Definitely like academically, like I'm not gifted like being smart either. Like I had to like put in the work to get my classes, to get A's, which thinking back now, getting an A in college like does not matter at all in life. But
back then, now it's like, that's all you can control.
But like I would remember just like I would just study like 3 nights a week before a test. Like that's what I had to do. So probably my parents just like grinding away, and then my own like personal schoolwork struggles that I always deal with, but I always like pull through and got like the good grades in class. And then like it's just something I always felt like I had to do it. Like my parents did it, so like why can't I do it? Basically, that's what kind of it all comes down to.
Yeah, and there's one way you can like I mean, we all have our parents as an example, right? But like you can either but seeing them accomplish things as a child, like actually watching it, understanding what they had to do to put it in, whereas like, you know, your parents could have been already established in their careers or whatever as you were a young child. You may have never seen anything like that and not know what the work that they put in. So I mean, that's a nice thing that you had to see, and that you were able to absorb that from them, to be like, okay, like, and that it still sticks with you today, you know, that you're like, I can be disciplined and put in this work. Now I have more time to do the work, so I'm going to do it because I have it. So it's cool that has like stuck with you. Yeah, and you should tell your mom. You should tell your mom that's pretty cool.
I should tell her more. I tell her I love her every day, but I don't tell her enough like how much like athletic that like my athletic accomplishments, how much she actually plays a role.
All this, I owe you. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
So what makes you good at OCR? Like, why are you good at OCR? Because I think you're good at OCR, right? Like, so just like you've been on the podium, you've had 20 something podiums, right? Like
in 2 years of Spartan race, I've had, I mean, this year doesn't count. I'm going to say it doesn't count, but like I've had 22 career Spartan podiums, 3 Savage race podiums, and then 2 top 10 national series finishes out of I've only done the national series 3 races.
Yeah. And you're on the pro team this year. So, so yeah, you've had some success, obviously, to enough to be recognized by Spartan and be on the podium enough. So like, why are you good? Like how do you do it?
I don't know, because I'm not the fastest guy. Like I've never ran a sub 16 5K. Like, but, and I think a lot of us have this attribute, but it's like, who has it more? And I think I'm just like the grittiest person. That's basically like I've had the struggles in running. I've had struggles in other things in my life. And like when I get to OCR or Spartan race, I'm like, this is a one thing like I know I can excel at. So I'm just going to have to put in the grit, and I'm going to have to like take the pain and do it. So like I don't think it's a lot of like, yeah, I can run decently fast. Yeah, I can carry pretty well, and I can grind up a mountain, but it's like my grit. Like I'll dive head first into that dunk tank and come out. If that saves me a couple seconds on somebody, like I'll scrape my back up on barbed wire. That means I get to go a little bit faster through it. Like I don't care about the pain at that moment. Like I'm just a gritty person, I feel like.
Do you think about that? Like when you're at the starting line and when it's time to race, you're like, fuck everybody else. Like,
yeah,
they don't have that.
Yeah. And I have a lot of like self-motivating things. Like, and this is not true whatsoever, but like I like always say like nobody like believes in me, which is not true at all. I have so much support. Like nobody believes in me. Like this is all for you.
Your dad thought 90th was good. Yeah. He was wrong.
Yeah. I was like, nobody, like this is for you. Like this is like what you love to do. This is why you get up every morning. Like this is your sport. Like a lot of these other people, like, I don't know, like they train as well, but like they probably have amazing like a job. They're probably lawyers and doctors. Like they don't need this. Like I don't like this is you, Nick. Like you were made to do this. And like I have a lot of faith. I like to have a lot of faith in God. And like I'm like this is what I was created to do, basically. So like when I get to that start line, it's like this is me. I'm the grittiest person here, and I'm going to show it like right from the get go.
When did you realize that? Like when were you like, holy shit, like this is why I'm here? Or was it like a point that you remember?
Probably when I got on the podium, my first time. Because I remember like I felt that like I was leading the race, and then I remember we went through underneath the barbed wire, and it's still to this day that's the shortest barbed wire I've ever had to go through.
Where was this at?
Fort Campbell.
Oh, Fort Campbell.
2017. It was the shortest barbed wire till this day I've ever gone under, and I remember like taking so long underneath it. And like I came into the barbed wire in first, and I came out like in 8th place, and I like, which is like, and if Fort Campbell is like the most technical, like going through like thorn bushes, all this brush, and I remember just once I got out of there, I just hammered it. I hammered it through like all these thorn bushes. I was cut from my nipples to my pinky toe, basically, just like all this like, just getting cut up. And just running through it, and like I had to catch so many people, and like I remember like hitting my spear, and like the guy next to me, like we looked at each other. It was for 3rd place, and like he lives in Nashville. He's actually a good friend of mine. And I remember just looking at him and like, oh, he does not have this, and I just hit it, and I finished the race, and I'm like that was like what my grit was, and like my mental game is strong. Like I know I can, like I know I'm not the fastest person, but like when it comes down to that a spear throw or that's sandbag that you got to go just a little bit faster, I think that's where like I excel at.
And like yeah, like in terms like where you are as being faster, probably the same in terms of the field as you were in high school. Like you're not fast, but like
yeah,
you're like in the middle of the pack of fast runners that exist in OCR, right?
Exactly, yeah.
And so like you can be in the mix, and like when you in that race in particular, or in any race really, like, did you know you were gritty, or did that race
brought out my, like, I always knew, like, in basketball, like growing up, like, the announcer, like, on the radio was, like, called me Mr. Hustle. Like, that was my nickname, because I was literally diving on the ground. I had
Marcus Smart is gritty. Knees. I would call him gritty.
Yeah, like, I remember, like, I was 6 foot, 150 pounds my senior year, and I led our conference in offensive rebounds. Like, and if you know anything about offensive rebounding or like rebounding nowadays, like it's all about grit. It's not a lot about skill anymore.
Just hustle, go after everyone.
And hustle, getting after every single ball.
Dennis Rodman or Charles Barkley.
Yeah.
Like I just go after every rebound.
Yeah, like there's skill in like where I was always good at reading where the ball was coming off the rim. But I always just like would dive headfirst after a ball if it was on the ground. So I always like in basketball or baseball, like I was never afraid to just slide head first and like get a bloody chin or something. But that race really brought it out. Like I've always like never want to like just run through a woods or something.
You don't train that way.
Yeah. And that race really brought it out. Like I have that ability to just like, I don't care what's going to happen to my body right now. I'm just going to do it.
Yeah, and that's and there's rare instances in which you can test yourself to the extremes that you can in obstacle course racing. Like you don't typically run through thorn bushes, or if it, in a team sport, like yeah, like the opportunity to dive on a loose ball presents itself every now and then. Like you would do that, but that's not like the crux of the game. That's a piece of the entire puzzle for a team sport. So like needing to lean on being like, oh, I am a gritty player, but you don't know how that really would stack up against other people. And OCR is kind of that. It's like a measurement of grittiness, kind of. There's like speed and talent and strength, and then like grittiness is like a huge part of that equation. So like, then did you just embrace that? Then you were like, all right, cool. Like this is now who I am.
Yeah, I did. And going back to my rib issue, like I have a floating rib syndrome or whatever you want to call it, where my 2 bottom ribs on my right side pop out of place.
And what happened? Did you get in an accident or something?
No, I remember my sophomore year at a cross country race, I felt pain in my side and I thought it was just a cramp. And like the next several days, like during my practice, like running up, like walking up the stairs in school, like, oh, this still hurts. Like, this shouldn't feel right. And I went to the athletic trainer at the time at our school. I don't know why at the time, she still is. And she like would rubbed her hand up and down my side. She go, oh, these are like out of place. And like, thank goodness she knows how to pop it in. And she just like popped them in right then and there. And like, they never happened again my sophomore year. And then I think the constant, and she was like, oh, it's probably never happened again. So I never thought about it till the next season. Like I played baseball, and I think that it was on my right side. So I feel like the constant throwing of a baseball and the swing of the bat just made it weaker, basically. Like that cartilage there, like once, like she explained, every time it pops out, basically you get less and less cartilage, and like that doesn't come back.
Right.
And I've seen a couple of even like orthopedic doctors, like rib specialists. And they say the same thing. Like that cartilage it's just for some reason it's not there. I went to physical therapy. I thought building muscle around it would be helpful. It did a little bit, but not as much. I don't know where else. Obstacle course racing. Like after that Fort Campbell race, because leading up to there, like every race my junior year, senior year, college, my rib would pop out of place, like half mile to go, and I would just hobble in basically. And that Fort Campbell race, it didn't pop out. I remember thinking like, oh my gosh, this did not pop out. And then like I did the next race, I'm like, I think it just doesn't pop out at OCR. So that's like I kind of went all in on this sport, because like this is a sport, like my one thing that like I didn't want to pursue running anymore because I was in so much pain is not that much of a factor anymore now.
Do you think it's just because you can't get up to running as fast?
And I think it is. Yeah,
or
I think
breathing
that is
as
too,
hard.
Like, yeah, I think I'm breathing just as hard, but there's opportunities where you don't have to breathe as hard.
Yeah.
Like I remember
it's broken up.
Yeah, like it's broken up. Like you literally will have to run through a river in OCR, and like you can't go fast through there, and you might as well lower your heart rate anywhere there. Like if you're going through a river or going through like a sandbag area or something like that, or a steep climb. And I just found that like it would still pop out in some obstacle course races, but it's nowhere near as much as it was when I was road racing or cross country. And those little breaks that we get, like even if I'm about to feel like it's about to pop out and like we get to climb over the cargo nets, I come off of it and it's all better. I don't know what it is, but I'm so glad that that's how it is.
It's another reaffirming. It's like, okay, this is my sport. This is why what I'm supposed to be doing. The other stuff, no. But OCR, it doesn't hurt my rib. I have this grittiness component, so this is my shit.
Yeah. And like the last several years, like I've done some road races and trail races, and I think getting the muscle, like adding a lot of muscle has definitely helped. And like sometimes my road racing now, like it doesn't pop out, but I'm scared to like let's go do a 5K time trial like this week. But like if it pops out, like shoot, now I don't even live by my athletic trainer who pops it in every time. So now it's even like I have to think about my training even more. Like I can't risk my rib popping out now and then like icing it for the next several days and hope it feels better.
Yeah, you got to find somebody. Find somebody down there.
I think my brother did it the other day, but it was kind of sketchy. I thought he was gonna break my rib.
Yeah. He's like, I don't know, man, I'll give it a shot. Just give it a little. That's a good brother job. Another perk with living with your brother.
Yeah.
Like,
he's a nurse, so like at least he knows
the
something.
body. Yeah, he knows something at least. So what's your goal then? What's your goal with OCR?
My goal with OCR, I want to be a consistent top 5 in the U.S. National Series. I know like top 3 podium would be awesome, but like if you're in the consistent top 5 always, like you're going to be pretty good. Like people are going to always know who you are, like, and you have to be so well-rounded to do that. Like the hills have definitely got me in the past. Like beast courses have definitely like torn me up some, like West Virginia has. But if I've changed my whole life to like chase this goal now. And I see there's opportunities like down the road for like a full-on career, either that's coaching or starting my own business with it or something like that. Like I see the opportunity there. So I need to get better, get my name out there, I know what I'm talking about. And Like, why not? I don't want to look back when I'm, I say 40 years old, but Ryan Woods is 40 years old and still kicking ass. But like,
Right.
I don't want to look back when I'm 40 or 50 and like, man, those young years when I was single, no kids, like I had this opportunity to move to Nashville to chase it. Like, I don't want to look back and say I just wasted it. So if I can be a consistent top 5 in this sport for the next, I don't know, decade, like that would be awesome.
Right. Yeah.
Why not?
Why? Yeah, exactly. Why not? Like, yeah,
Like the
Killian
top,
won.
the
He's
top people in
38,
this
I think.
sport, the top people in this sport, they're all 30 to 40 years old. So like these next couple of years, when I'm 28 years old, 30 years old, they're going to be much older. So like somebody's got to take that spot. I'm hoping to do a sooner than that, but that's my goal.
And that's like you're probably not quite to your athletic prime when it comes to an aerobic competition, right? Like, the best running athletes are typically 28, 29, 30. Even though Galen Rupp's still our top guy, he's my age. He's 34, 35. So there's a lot you can do in terms of running. And I like what you're saying about, not missing an opportunity. I think we all have that a little bit, but you're out there seizing it and going after it to a place where you can actually chase this as a career. Like even outside of like the coaching or whatever it is, like you could make enough money and like really supplement your lifestyle and build that credibility. So I like it, man. It's more than just getting a top 5 and like knowing that you belong or whatever, that people know that you're a good racer. It's like, this is like your livelihood at this point almost. So that's cool. So what do you need to do? Like, what do you need to do to get there?
I'm still just building. Like I still only run about 45 miles a week. I think that's, you can get a lot done with that. Like I've proved it, like you can. I would like to like always like be consistent, like 55 or like miles a week. And it's like some more like cross training, but I'll tell you what the number one thing is, Rich, and like you're big on this, like my nutrition has to probably get better. I've read a lot about it. I've watched a lot of YouTube videos on it, some movies, and it's like, the nutrition part does play a huge role in it. I'm definitely like, I'm younger and I've gotten away with it. Like I don't eat horribly. Like I just try to get a lot of calories in it, but like I don't eat enough greens. I don't eat everything that I need to do. I eat a lot of like processed meats probably. I just try to get as much calories in me as possible because I know I'm burning a lot. So
right, you're just eating whatever opportunity you have to eat.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to be, I know I have the physical aspects. I know I can run with a lot of people. I think it's going to be those other little things I talk about where it's like mobility or recovery. Like probably some of these top people are like, on the running public, they talk like pros, like they invest in their body. And I don't think I've invested in my body as much as I have put out probably.
Yeah, but that's what's tough about the sport, right? It's like the investment piece in anything that's outside of the actual races and travel because there's not that much support, Yeah. It's like, how do you justify that? It's like, yeah, I'll invest in my body, but like I need to invest in the food in my refrigerator as well. So it's like that tough balance of trying to figure that out. But it sounds like it is some of like just the smaller things, right? Like the training for you, like what works, right? And like what you're going to dive into. And I think you're right. Like I think some more miles and just being there consistently, being injury free for a long time, I think it would really come a long way. But just like doing those little things, we'll talk offline for sure about like some things and how we can work on those. But yeah, I like that. I like just like, cause those are the next pieces, right? Like you've accomplished a ton just based off the physical part. Now it's like, what else can you do to dial it in? Like what else is there? Cause there is always something, you know?
Especially in this sport, like Jesus.
I know it's like unlimited things you could do. It's like, well, maybe I need to get stronger. Maybe my carries need to get better. And it's hard to figure that out. But along those lines, like what, if you were to pick one course that like would be the world championship, like if you could hand pick it, like where would you put it that would best suit you in terms of, take it two ways, like that you would like to, you can pick one. It's like where you would like to go and where you think would be fun. And another one where you think you would do the best.
Fort Campbell, Kentucky.
There you go.
I've won it 3 times now, 4 podiums there. Like that's my place.
Yo, come see Nick at Fort Campbell.
It's pretty technical. It's like that's the one course I still feel like Spartan just like, okay, there's a woods right there. Let's just go right through it. Let's
They're
not
still
even
doing
cut any. Let's not even cut anything out. So like that's like every time I've done it, that's my place. It's really technical, a lot of bushwhacking, and then a couple rolling hills. That's my place. That's where if there's a world championship, come find me right there. I'll be at the start line. Where I would want it to be, I don't know. I don't know too much about like Europe, but I want to do international racing. So if there's like I was going to go to Abu Dhabi this year. I was looking at flights. I almost put a down payment on a flight even, like in March. So luckily I didn't.
Those things weren't cheap.
Yeah. So somewhere probably like in a different country, probably overseas in like Europe or Asia. I want to go with this sport has allowed me to see our entire country. Like I've never like really ventured out of Illinois before this. So it's let me see the entire country. Now I wanted to see the world with it basically. So if the world championships went across the sea, I would love, I mean, they are, but like in Europe or something, I would love to go there anywhere.
Yeah, that would be cool. It'd be interesting to see like how that contrasts, because even just watching the race that they had, the trifecta one in Greece, like they're like different.
Oh my God. And that course was amazing.
It looked awesome.
Like, yeah, like you're running through a Sparta, the village, and then you're out in the mountains in there. Like, I think that should be a world championship course.
That'd be sweet. And like, yeah, I don't think it's at altitude, right? Anywhere it's not altitude is like,
yeah,
thumbs up for me. And what kind of, when you, like, what moves the needle the most for you in training? Like, what's like your favorite, like, I know you've mentioned, I mean, we've obviously talked about running, doing AMRAPs, doing some functional type stuff. Like when you're getting ready for a race, say you're getting ready for Fort Campbell, where you're going to go mash everybody. Like, what do you do?
So back home, like our trails, like we had some pretty hilly trails, but there was this one rugged, like it was completely flat, but I mean, you were running through like a river, just rugged. And I would love to do an old fashioned, just 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Like a fartlek?
Yeah, fartlek. And then recovery's half the time, or just do a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and just hammer that. Especially if it was like 10 days out from a race. Constantly running just a fartlek style. Those are my, like fartleks is what I do pretty much all my interval based training is, because my logic is obstacle course racing, Spartan race is just one big fartlek the entire time. It's a 50 to an hour and a half fartlek, which are tough. So like I'll do 30-minute fartleks, like 3 minutes on, 2 minutes off, 4 minutes on, 2 minutes off, stuff like that. So I don't really get up there the interval, like the minute range, but like I'll do it for 30 or 40 minutes sometimes, like some of my fartleks.
And that makes sense. And just like making it like the race, you know, it doesn't have to be overly complicated. And like, I know I fall victim to that, like, let's make it exactly what like is going to get my maximum output so I can get the best fitness response possible. Really just like run through some shitty woods, like fast sometimes, not so fast other times, and just like get ready. Is it at like race pace, or are you going like sub race pace? Are you going faster than what you would feel?
I like to go like my shorter fartleks. I like to just like a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, stuff like that. I like to just hammer it, like, and then like my recovery, like I did this on the road the other day. Like I was going sub 5 minute pace for like the actual running on, and then the off, like my recovery, I was still averaging like 6:30 or 7. Like
okay,
just
so you don't pull back like, too much.
Don't pull back too much. Just like hammer it. Those are my shorter ones, and then like the longer ones, just like keep like a steady pace the whole time. Say like I'm doing like a 10K or a half marathon pace for the on, but I'm still holding like a marathon pace for the off. Like I don't like to like chill out too much.
I like that. And it just makes sense, right? Like don't make it too complicated. Just get out there and just run hard on the terrain. And are you always trying to get it on wacky terrain?
Some like if it's want to be race specific, yeah. Like if I have like weeks and weeks like between races, like I'll just get it on the road or get it on the trail. Here out in Nashville, we got some pretty good cross country like courses. Like they're not like muddy or whatever, but they're not on even grounds. And some rolling hills in there. So I've been hammering that out here when I can. It's always just good to run on grass. I feel like if you're going to be an obstacle course racer, especially if it gets like the day after a rainstorm or something, like get out there and get some mud on you.
Just go start rolling in the mud.
Yeah.
Start doing that. Cool, man. So, I mean, we're here, we're talking, we're on this team, the obstacle race collaboration, AKA TORC, AKA the collab. So what are you excited the most about, like, joining up, having this team?
Dude, I'm excited. Like, there's so many, like, we're all like good like, so a lot of us have like coaching backgrounds. A lot of us have different sport backgrounds. A lot of our high level runners. A lot of us are like high level endurance athletes, like mountain runners, like that have just like a network. And we always could have just reached out to people, but like to like know that we have people now that are all one goal, and just to learn from. That's what I'm most excited about, because like I don't know much about, like, I'm still learning about being a mountain runner in parentheses or whatever. Like, and I got Joshua Reed right there and Lauren Longfield, and well, Lauren maybe be a bad example, but like
you don't want to put in her
doing.
work. Her work.
No,
I
don't.
Will put
like,
you on the sideline.
Yeah, and like a lot of us, like, I mean, we got nurses on the staff, we got respiratory therapists on the staff. Like, we got a lot of people that just know the human body, so to reach out, like, and we're all there together. And then hopefully, like, we can build this thing up and make an actual sponsorship team. Like, that's like what I said, like, this path has a lot of opportunities and careers, and this is an opportunity that might turn into something like bigger than any of us ever thought.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I, like, in terms of where the sport is and like needing to push it forward for the sake of like, having a career in this thing, like, this is an opportunity to do that, you know, like I'm really excited for it, like, for it as well. And like I said, like, the people are just awesome. There's like a lot of good quality people in this. Cool, man. So I think that pretty much wraps it up. Nick, where can people find you?
Instagram's the best. That's my main thing. Ryker5. You know, I recently got on TikTok. I've just been making like short clips of training. That's Ryker5 as well.
I have a question about that for you.
Yeah.
So you don't like music. So why?
How? That's the hardest part.
How is TikTok going to work for you?
So a guy I work with, he's like has almost 1 million followers on TikTok, and I like all my text messages with him. Like, I'll send him the videos. Like, what song works for this one? And he like that is the hardest part. Like, I'm not a musical person. Like, I don't know like what the rhythm would look like, or like if it like matches up with it. Like, I'll edit the video, I'll send it to him. I was like, what song? And then he's like, this one. And that's what it's been so far. There's
like a lot of work associated with TikTok, man. It's like
my first TikTok took about an hour to make.
Dude, it takes like I was goofing on a little bit. You can edit so much and like do a lot of stuff on there to the point where I would never like be done. Like, you can do so much stuff.
Yeah, like these kids that live in California that like make a career on it. I can see why.
They can spend that much time.
Why?
Like, you could tell someone who's like really good at TikTok and someone who's just like doing it because, like, Instagram's not really just like you take a photo and that's the photo that you're going to use, and like you can filter it up, whatever. But TikTok is like lots of stuff you can do.
Yeah, it's wild.
You need to have it like backdropped with like a podcast or something. That's more your speed. You need to create the TikTok for podcasts.
How would that look? Just like,
I'm just an idea guy.
I'll be
you execute
the closer.
This. Yeah, you go ahead. You be the ops on this and figure out how that's going to work for people like you. You're one of the only people I know who doesn't like music, but you're probably not the only one.
Yeah,
who doesn't like music.
No, I'm not. So yeah, Ryker5 on Instagram and TikTok, Twitter, Ryker. I make a lot of funny tweets, and then, you know, my dog.
What about your podcast?
Oh, the Rye Reasons on Optical Racing Media. It's a bachelorette and bachelor podcast with Ryan Woods, and I'm Nick Ryker.
It took me a minute too. I thought it was the Rye. I thought it was just after. I get the Rye after you explained it to me, but I was like, is this named just after Woods? I mean,
no,
Ryker, I thought you were on the show.
Yeah, I am. I'm the show, I think.
I haven't listened yet. I do apologize. I told you I was going to. I haven't.
It's fine.
I will. I promise.
I find it funny. We call it the Rye Reasons because there's always like you're always trying to find out who's on the show for the right reasons. Some people are there for fame. Some people are there to build their brand. But who's there to find love? Those are the ones who are for the right reasons.
Okay, we're going to go a little bit longer because I want to talk to you about The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. is so when you watch this show, I haven't. Not
Yeah.
I don't even have a TV here. But
No,
I,
you don't. That's right.
I don't have a TV. That's probably not the only reason I don't watch it, but I've never watched it and really gotten into it. I'm not saying I wouldn't. But when you watch it, are you rooting for the people who are there for the right reasons, or are sometimes you rooting for the people – do you like to have someone in there who's mixing it up, doing it all wacky?
Absolutely mixed up. Absolutely. I love that. I watch this show for drama because some of it is the craziest stuff you'll ever witness. Like that only reality TV show and these producers can show. But it's nice like when you get to the end and like the two people, like you hope they make it. You hope like, you know, they actually do because, you know, they spend a lot of time on this. So it's good to have people there for the right reason, but it's better for people to be there for the wrong reasons.
It's for entertainment value.
Yeah.
It's better if they're in it for the wrong snaky type reasons. And how much, I mean, I have no faith in television. Is it like really scripted? Is it like really like?
So like, I think the drama in between it is not scripted, but it's definitely the producers. So the Bachelor producers are the best producers in the business. And they definitely, I feel like, push a lot of it. They probably tell like a guy like, oh, go tell her this or like go do that or something. That I think they tell the contestants like this would be a good idea if you did this, knowing it's not a good idea. So that part I think is scripted. Yeah. Oh yeah.
So so to me, that's not the right reasons. The producers.
No, the producers are not there for the right reasons.
Wrong reasons.
They're there to make money. And what money? How do you make money? Is drama, and they got to stir the pot a little bit.
And you're there for that pot stirring.
I'm there all in for it. I love it.
And like, is Woods on the same? Are you guys on the same team in that, or you guys have the opposite?
Yeah, we're for it. We're all for it. Like we want at the end of the day, we want it to be good and like all good, but then we want drama. Like there's been a little bit of drama this year. Like this has been crazy this season because we've had 2 bachelorettes. Because the first bachelorette fell in love with a guy on first sight, and within a week they got engaged. Never heard of before. So they had to bring on a new girl. And this one has gave a lot more drama in it.
So the first one was in it for the right reason. She's like, I'm here. And that guy happened to be there.
She was 39.
She was ready.
She was ready. She saw him, and that was the only guy she wanted to spend time with. So all the other guys were getting frustrated, and then the producer was like, hey, you either pick this guy and tell these guys like they can move on with their lives, or like you try to like build relationships with the other people. And she's like, no, I want to pick Dale. Like he's my guy. And they got engaged. Dale. Former NFL player.
Oh, okay. I guess you can have a name like Dale then when you're probably a monster. We'll check out the Rye reasons, and I'll continue this dialogue when I have more questions about the Bachelor Bachelorette, because the whole thing is interesting to me, but I'm not necessarily compelled to watch it. But
okay,
I enjoy hearing it from you. So maybe that's a reason to watch. To listen.
I think most of our listeners don't watch the show; they just listen for Woods and I to talk,
just like your friends. Yeah. Cool. I'm your friend. I'm gonna check it out. Cool, man. I'll link to everything, and we're definitely gonna have you back on. This is, like I said, it's gonna be something that's gonna be reoccurring where we'll do race recaps, we'll do course previews. Whole lot of stuff coming from TORC, so we'll be out here.
Sounds good, man.
All right, dude. Later.